Hey there! Thinking about doing a hut-to-hut hike in the Pyrenees? We've done a different hut-to-hut hike every year for the past 6 years, and I'm here to help you pick the perfect one for you. I'll be sharing 6 beautiful routes, ranked from the easiest to the hardest, plus some essential tips to make your adventure smoother. Okay, so let's start. First one on the list is La Travessa dels Tres Refugis, which in English means the hike of the 3 huts. This is a circular route with a total distance of 52 kilometers and 3,054 meters of cumulative elevation gain. You can do it in 3 to 6 days, and it starts in the Catalan side of the Pyrenees, crosses to the French one, and then comes back to the Catalan side. So, you'll be hiking in 2 different countries. More specifically, the hike takes place in the Capçaleres del Ter i del Freser Natural Park, which is 2 hours north from Barcelona. We did this hike in August 2021, and before that, we had never heard about it, but it really surprised us. First, because of the variety of landscapes. We saw waterfalls, beautiful alpine lakes, lush forests, and there was even a section that reminded me of the mountains of Iceland. We also loved it because we spotted so much wildlife, especially deer and groundhogs. We consider this the easiest route because the terrain isn't technically challenging, and the elevation gain and the distance are manageable. The longest stage is 12 kilometers with 900 meters of elevation gain. The hike begins and ends in the beautiful mountain village of Carals, which you can easily reach by train and bus from Barcelona. Once you leave Carals, the route then does 2 big loops, linking 3 mountain huts and 1 mountain hostel. Another thing that makes this hike even better for beginners is its flexibility. If it's your first hut-to-hut hike and you want to take it slow, you can stick to the loop closer to Carals and do it in 3 days. Plus, this route passes through Vall de Núria, a popular spot with a lake, a hotel, a hostel, and a sanctuary. While there's no road access, you can get there via rag railway, so you're never too far from civilization. Another great thing about this hike is that if you're looking to make the stages longer, there are many options to hike nearby peaks along the route. Okay, as we said, we didn't have high expectations for this hike, as it's not as well known as Carros de Foc or Cavalls del Vent, but the truth is that we loved it. This part of the Pyrenees is really breathtaking. So if you're looking for a nice, easy hike with a lot of different landscapes, this is a great option. Okay, next on the list is Carros de Foc. You've probably heard about this one because it's one of the most famous hikes here in the Pyrenees. The route is 55 kilometers long with 9,200 meters of cumulative elevation gain and can take you between 4 and 9 days to complete. It started as a joke by local hut wardens to visit each other, but it's now one of the most renowned and beautiful hut-to-hut hikes here in Europe. The route is circular and connects 9 mountain huts in the Aigües Tortes i Estanys Amagats National Park, about 4 hours northwest of Barcelona. What makes this route beginner-friendly is the number of huts along the way. Many people skip some and combine stages to make it in fewer days, but you can stretch the hike to 9 days and take it super slow, which is a fantastic option for first-time hikers. We hiked this route in July 2019, and we finished it in 5 days and a half. Our starting point was the Ernest Mallafré hut, but you can really start the route from any hut. Just keep in mind that none of the huts are accessible by car. They are all reachable only by foot from the nearest towns. That's why we picked Ernest Mallafré, because it has the shortest approach, just 4 kilometers of walking, making it the quickest way to kick off the hike in the park. So, do we recommend this route? What did we like about it? The highlight was definitely the landscapes and the huts. We hiked through green valleys, many beautiful lakes, rocky mountain passes, and even stumbled upon some patches of snow along the way. Another thing we loved were the huts, which are all in breathtaking locations, and the food they serve is really good. Basically, the Aigües Tortes National Park is really beautiful, and Carros de Foc is a great way to discover it. Alright, next one is Cavalls del Vent, which translates as Horses of the Wind. This is another popular hike here in the Catalan Pyrenees, and maybe you've heard about it too. The total distance is 84 kilometers, with 5,600 meters of cumulative elevation gain, which you can do in 4 to 7 days. The route is circular and connects 8 mountain huts in the Cadí Moixeró Natural Park, about 2 hours north of Barcelona. We hiked Cavalls del Vent in September 2020, and we did it in 4 days, starting and finishing in the hut Porta del Cel. But you can begin the route route from any of the huts in the park. Just note that some require a walk to reach them. One of the great things about this hike is that if you want to take it slow, you can stretch it out over 8 days. Although it rained a couple of days when we did it, we really liked this hike. Our favorite moments were watching the sunrise and sunset above 2,000 meters, enjoying delicious mountain rice and local products after hiking all day, and taking in the views of the emblematic Pedraforca mountain. Speaking of food, this route had the best meals out of all the hikes we've done. Okay, let's go for the next one, Estanys Amagats. If you're a fan of mountain lakes, you'll love this one. Its name translates to hidden lakes, and trust us, they gave it this name for a reason. There are around 40 lakes along the 73-kilometer journey. The route has a cumulative elevation gain of 3,600 meters, and you can complete it in 4 to 5 days. It starts and ends in La Cerdanya region, just 2 hours north of Barcelona, and even takes you through the tiny country of Andorra. We hiked Estanys Amagats in August 2022, and we did it in 4 days, skipping a night at the hut Cap del Rec. Besides the beautiful lake surrounded by mountains, we love that the route doesn't take place only at high altitudes. It actually passes through some charming little mountain villages, making it an interesting combination for discovering the architecture and the alpine landscapes of the region. The main downside of this hike is that there's no direct public transport to the start of the route, but with a combination of a bus ride and a short walk, it's doable. Also, we found the last day a bit repetitive and not as spectacular as the others. That said, we absolutely loved exploring some parts of Andorra that are difficult to reach on one-day hikes. For example, some parts of the Vall del Madriu Natural Park, which is a UNESCO-listed valley, and it's absolutely beautiful. Okay, the next 2 hikes on the list are pretty tough. Let's start with La Porta del Cel. Translated as the Heaven's Door, this circular hiking route is one of our favorites in the Pyrenees, not only because it climbs Catalonia's highest peak, but also because the landscapes are mind-blowing. The total distance of this hike is 63 kilometers, with an elevation gain of 5,500 meters. The hike needs to be done with a maximum of 4 days and a half, as there aren't any more huts along the route, so it's not possible to split the stages. That's what makes it hard. Because of the long stages and the terrain, we only recommend it to seasoned hikers with experience in high altitudes, not to someone who wants to get started with hut-to-hut hiking. The hike takes place in the Alt Pirineu Natural Park, about 3 hours and a half from Barcelona, and crosses the Pyrenees from the Catalan side to the French one and back. The route starts and ends in the little mountain village of Tavascan, which you can reach by bus from Barcelona, and links 4 mountain huts. We did it in 2023, and we found the track challenging because of the distance and the elevation. It isn't technically difficult, except for a couple of aerial sections, though you can skip those if you don't climb the peaks. There's also a section where you need to scramble with your hands, using a chain for support, which can be tricky for people with vertigo. It's not difficult, but for example, when we did it, it was raining, which complicated things. That said, the landscapes were among the most impressive in the Catalan Pyrenees. And as a bonus, you get to climb Catalonia's highest mountain, La Pica d'Estats, in a way that's much more interesting than the usual route. Most people climb it from the Catalan side, where the path up and down is the same, which can feel a bit boring. On La Porta del Cel, you ascend via the French side and then descend via the Catalan one, so you'll find fewer crowds and the landscape is more varied. Okay, and this is the final hike on the list. Coronallacs. This incredible circular hike takes you on a full loop through Andorra. The total distance is 92 kilometers, with almost 6,500 meters of cumulative elevation gain. And same as with La Porta del Cel, there are only 4 huts along the route, so you cannot shorten the stages. So the hike takes 5 full days. Coronallacs starts and ends in the country's capital, Andorra la Vella, which you can reach in 3 hours by bus from Barcelona. If you are in a rush, there's even a bus that goes to Andorra straight from Barcelona's airport. This was hands down the hardest hike we've done in the Pyrenees, not because of the terrain, which isn't technically difficult, but because of the distance and elevation. 4 out of the 5 days had more than 1,000 meters of elevation gain, and one of the days is just crazy, 22 kilometers with 1,900 meters of elevation gain. We were out on the trail for 8 to 10 hours daily, so it was definitely a challenge. But it was worth every step. We've spent years exploring Andorra, but this hike showed us parts of the country we had never seen before. We knew parts of the trail from the hikes we had done in the past, but we really loved connecting them. It felt like we were seeing Andorra in a whole new way. So yeah, this hike is tough, but if you're up for a challenge, it's an amazing adventure. Okay, So those are the 6 routes we've done over the years here in the Pyrenees. Of course, there are many other routes, and we focus mostly on the Catalan side of the Pyrenees. But if you're planning on coming here, these are some great options. Finally, I just wanted to mention that the best time to do all of these routes is from June to September. All of the routes we've mentioned are high mountain routes, and even though they are in Spain, snow can be a problem in the mountain passes right into mid-July. It really depends on the year. For example, it snowed when we were doing La Porta del Cel, and that was in August, and we did Coronallacs at the end of July, and we didn't find any snow. So it's better to check with the local hut wardens and take a look at the hut's webcams. If you want to be on the safe side, there's usually no snow at the end of July, August and September. That said, we never had to use crampons or any special gear when we did these routes, though you might need to if you do them in June. And finally, the last thing to take into account when planning a hut-to-hut hike is to pack as lightly as possible. We'll do another video with the things you need to pack to go hut-to-hut hiking in the Pyrenees and some useful tips. So that's it. It got dark while I was filming. I really hope this video was helpful and that you enjoy your Pyrenees adventure if you decide to come. See you soon!